Hello and welcome to Learn Spanish with me. This is Learn Spanish number 3. I'm kind of chilling out here. I'm actually in my pajamas. When I started doing video lessons online, some of my fellow musician friends joked around with me that I could probably teach, wearing underwear from the waist down, and nobody would really ever know it. But this time, in the interest of full disclosure, I've got my my bare pajamas on here. So I've got my horchata drink. This is actually kind of a rum chata thing. I want to tell you a word about horchata, but first I want to introduce my special guest. You just saw our little our older dog Cody. We got a special guest, a new member to the household. Kaya here. She's she just got out of getting surgery, get her tubes tied basically, and so she's convalescing. So you're not going to get a lot of action out of her, but she's in the background. Word about horchata. This is actually kind of an interesting drink. This is the alcoholic version called rum chata. You might be familiar with it if you're into sweet creamy drinks, things like that. It's a great drink. But horchata itself is actually a Spanish invention. I think might be more of a Mexican invention. Let's check this. There we go, horchata. It's basically rice milk and sugar. That's pretty much it. It's, let's see here, Valencia and Archuf. Okay, Iberia, now Spain. Okay, so it is a Spanish. So if you go, there it is. Came to be made with white rice and cinnamon. And there's regional variations on it and so forth. But, sometimes you'll see it in smaller little Mexican restaurants, if you see a little Mexican food small restaurant in a plaza or something. Sometimes the more mom and pop restaurants will have them. A lot of them nowadays, just like a lot of your fruit drinks, are going to be kind of like a powdered mix. But if you're lucky, you might find like actual rice made horchata. But what I recommend is looking up a recipe to make your own, and it's fantastic. There's all kinds of variations on it. Like any recipe. But it's definitely worth it, like I said, if you're into the sweet, creamy drinks. Now, the word about the word horchata. You'll notice that this is another good example of that silent H on the beginning. There it is. Instead of horchata, don't make the mistake of sounding like a gringo and saying horchata. Usually an H on the beginning of a Spanish word is going to be silent. So in this case, horchata, right? Here drinks called agua de horchata, or simply horchata, came to be made with white rice and cinnamon, or canela instead of tiger nuts, different variations. So agua, most people know agua as water. De is of, but it has a lot of different kind of uses and meanings in Spanish. A little more than our of. It's more of a possessive, kind of thing. It's basically their version of apostrophe S, right? Agua de horchata, right? So water of horchata, basically horchata drink, just a little side note there. All right. Now, as you know, last time I had discovered randomnumbergenerator.com. The address is just clipped off from this video here, but randomnumbergenerator.com, all one word. Great site, and I finally figured out how to customize it. You just hit customize table and then just type in whatever you want the text to be. I thought this was something special, but apparently wasn't. This isn't what we're looking for. We're looking for down here. All right, so you can see that I've got my own customized little randomizer here. And also, as we've discovered last week, wasn't a big fan of Google Translate, and I much prefer my Android app, reverso context. A big fan of that. All kinds of great examples, and it really helps you kind of bring home the meaning of a word and gives you all kinds of different possibilities, so you can kind of custom design it to whatever you're looking for. Very handy when we're looking at a book context, because sometimes the things we find in the book are a little bit off the beaten path of the usual uses of the word. Okay, so as you can see, I've got ready my Harry Potter y la piedra filosofal, the philosopher's stone. And I actually looked up piedra a little while back and found it wasn't just stone. You could also mean pebble. So I'm assuming it to mean like a small stone. But the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Pebble just doesn't sound quite as cool, so Philosopher's Stone will do. All right, so let's get rolling here. All right, let's go ahead and do a number. Boom. Okay, looks like 165, paragraph 4. This time, instead of splitting it up into 3, I split it up into 4, a little more versatile. But I'm going to just basically do the wherever makes most sense. Sometimes you'll be in the middle of a paragraph, if you start strictly by that. Okay, page 165. All right, here we go. 165. And paragraph number 4. Let's see what comes up. All right. All right, let's go ahead and call this the beginning of right there. All right. Lees. Oops. There we go. Come on, focus for me. Come on, camera. You can do it. There you go. Seguia comentando el partido. All right, let's just go with just that sentence. I can see Slytherin and Flint and Quaffle, so I can tell there's some game going on here, some Quidditch game. But let's go ahead and I don't want to jump too far. That might give it away. We've got to really slog through this. Lee is a form of leer, which is to read, right? So lee is he reads or he read. Let's go ahead and look this up. All right. So I got my handy dandy reverso context here. I want to kind of focus in there. All right. We got lay. Let's see what it says. Lease. Oh, it got confused. Sometimes it actually thinks I'm putting in English. It's got an automatic kind of translator. Oh, let's see what happens here. You can flip it around. Let's see if it doesn't automatically go back again. There we go. Read. He read. The detainee read the statement, or read the statement, right? Take it upstairs and read the first chapter. So lee, read. So he read. All right. Now, one thing about reversal context is really handy. Notice this little grid here. That's basically telling you all the conjugations, all the different ways you can see the verb, and it gives you the original verb that's non-tense, right? Or to do something, the basic verb itself. Leer is to read, right? So you can see lee is he, she, or they, right? We'll get into ustedes later. But look around for lee to see if there's a imperative, which is to tell somebody to do something. You do something. You do this. Right? Now we can see lee is somebody's telling them to read something. That might mean something later, but he reads, right? So let's see if this makes sense. Le seguia Seguir, I think, is to follow, if I remember correctly. So let's see. Go back here. Seguia. Seguia. Oops. Quick word about the accents here. Sometimes the accents mean something really special. Sometimes, you can do without them, and the reversal context will figure it out for you. If you don't put an accent on an I, it'll go, yeah, I think you meant the accent. Sometimes, though, that accent can actually make a big difference with something, like with C, as in yes, C. S-I with an accent is C, yes. But C with S-I without an accent, just a dot on the I, means if. So, if I were to do something, if I want, si quiero, right? Or, yes, I want it. That would be si with an accent. Si quiero-lo or quiero-la, right? I want it. So sometimes that accent does make a big difference. Other times it's as if you didn't dot your I in English, and it's like, okay, yeah, I know that's supposed to be an I, big deal. Right, so you got to be kind of careful about that. Okay, so sure enough, seguia means followed, right? So continued, followed, kept, right? Followed. All right, so let's see here. Oh, you know what? This isn't lay at all. This isn't read. This is Lee. Who's the character? Lee Jordan. That's kind of a funny, little accident there. Lee, yeah, Jordan, not leye, as in read, right? Lee seguia, continued, comentando, right? Comentando, I think, means commenting, right? Or doing commentary. Let's see what we have here. Leye. Talk about a great example of overthinking something. This is easy to do sometimes, especially since it was the beginning of the sentence, and I assumed, it's a capital L beginning of the sentence, but it also just happens to be a name, Lee. All right, so comentando, commenting on, discussing, right? Commenting on. And as you know, if you're a Harry Potter fan, Lee Jordan was the commentator for all the the Quidditch games, so that makes sense. He was the commentator, discussing or commentating. Let's go with commentating. I believe I'm saying that right. El partido. El partido doesn't mean the part. It actually means the game, if I'm not mistaken. Partido. Partido. All right. Boop. Yep, there it is. Game, match, right? It can mean different things, but departed, right? Sometimes the ido of partido, of any other verb, can actually put it in a different tense, right? But there's all kinds of words in our English language that mean other things depending on the ending you put on them, right? So in this case, we kind of have to take it by context. That's game or match, is the one we're going to choose here. Obviously, there's a Quidditch game going on here. Lee continued commenting or commentating the game. All right. Slytherin en posesión. Right. This should be obvious, in possession. Right. Slytherin has possession. Flint, one of the characters. Con is with. Right. It can be just as versatile as our English with. I'm going with my friend, con mi amigo, or I am with child. Like she is with child. Ella es con bebé. Right, is with a baby. Right, in other words, they have something. Right, to have. Yo soy con un vaso de romchata, right? By the way, folks, this is an adult beverage, but this is as adult as the channel gets. There's, unfortunately, sorry to dispossess you of any hopes here. There's not going to be any swears or Spanish swears. You know, who knows? If I get enough comments, I might make a separate channel talking about, like having an adult filter on it, where you actually have to log in and, has an adult, warning. And we might even use that to, conjugate swears. Who knows? But that's only if I get a big demand for it. So far, I'm not a big presence on YouTube. So, for right now, it's just you and me kind of learning stuff. So we'll see where that goes. All right, so Flint con la quaffle. We know what quaffle is if we're Harry Potter fans. Flint with the quaffle. All right, with con. Supera a spinit, right? Spinit's one of the characters. A bell, to bell, one another the characters. Supera. Let's see what supera is. Now, the interesting thing about this is while we're reading from the book, like I've said before, there are a lot of past tenses because it's a story being told of something that happened in the past or the recent past, right? But while we're quoting somebody, telling what happens, they're talking in present tense. So I'm thinking this is probably going to be in some kind of present tense. As in fact, as I can see, that first suggestion has a superar. Any kind of ER, IR, or AR at the end of a word usually means a verb, right? To do something, right? So superar, we might find out, what that means. But let's see what the actual context is here. Supera, exceed, surpassed. Okay, that's probably something that has more to the game. Surpasses, right? Surpasses can also mean exceeding a number, right? Surpassing a number. But let's go ahead just for fun and tack an R onto the end of there and look at superar and see what we're dealing with here. Let's go straight to the conjugation and see the original verb here. Superar, overcome, to overcome, right? So if we see here, supera indicativo presente. That's some of this fancy verbiage that we use to describe tenses. If you're in grade school or something like that, you might understand present indicative, indicativo presente. But if you're over freaking 30 years old, you probably don't remember any of this stuff, unless you're like an English teacher or something, right? I was in AP English. I'm a word nerd, right? I love words, and this is one of the reasons I'm doing this. But just, words to me are like music. So, but even that being said, AP English, I was in advanced placement English all through I think elementary through middle, through high school. Love language, love English. It's just something that kind of clicks with me. And I don't even remember what this freaking stuff is. Present indicative, I'm learning now, though. This is a great, great review for me of that kind of dumb stuff. But presente is enough. In other words, it just means present tense, okay? So, supera, él, he, ella, she, or ustedes, he, formal, right? We'll get into the formal tense of ustedes some other time. Supera, he exceeds or she exceeds, right? So let's see how this actually means something to us in context here. Supera a spinit a bell, all right? Supera a means to, but again, just like de, it can have all kinds of different contexts. So Flint with the quaffle, right? Flint, I forget if Flint was in Slytherin. Oh yeah, Slytherin in possession. So Slytherin has the ball, right? Flint is one of the with the quaffle. Yeah, Yeah, I think the quaffles, the playing ball. Yeah, it's been a minute. So Flint, I think Flint was a Slytherin guy, right? Flint with the quaffle, he passes Spinnet and Bell, right? But in this case, supera a means to exceed, right? Supera a is taken as a phrase, not as, he exceeds to Spinnet. It means he exceeds, he overcomes, he passes Spinnet and passes Bell. And I'm pretty sure Bell was a Gryffindor, right? So he passes Spinnet, passes Bell. Una bludger, right? A bludger le da con fuerza en la cara. All right, so I'm pretty sure cara, I remember this means face, right? En la cara means in the face. Con fuerza, as you've seen, con means with, right? Fuerza, I think it means force, with force in the face. So I think somebody just got beamed in the face with a quaffle, right? Or a bludger, rather. Le da. So let's look at that. I'm pretty sure I know da comes from dar, which means to give, right? Le da. Anytime you have some word like this, le, in front of a verb, it means to them, right? Or to him, to her, to it, to them, to me, right? Le, in this case with context, I think it might mean to him gives with force in the face. So a bludger to him gives with force in the face. Let's see if I'm right here. All right, so le da. All right, first off, let's just look up da and see what it means and see what it gives me. Okay, we got come on, focus for me. All right. Give, provides, gave, feel, turn. So in this case, definitely gives, da. All right, now let's see what we put together here. Le, da. Give, given. There we go, come on. He gets. Oh, I think that's one that really works for our context here. He gets, right? Or give him, gives him, gives you, is given, right? Is given, gives him or is given, I think is the one that works best in our context here. So let's look at this with new eyes here. A bludger gives him, to him gives, with force in the face. Let's double check on fuerza and cara, all right? But I'm pretty sure I'm right here. Fuerza. Force. Yep, there it is. Momentum, coercion, force, strength. If you're going to get a bludger in the face, I think it means con fuerza means with force. And what was the other word? It was en la cara, right? And I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, face. My Spanish is getting better as I'm reading more Harry Potter. There it is. In the head. Cara can mean head, but I've usually seen it more often used in context of face, right? So our friend Flint just got a quaffle in the face, right? Or I'm sorry, a bludger, right? Una bludger, to him gives with force in the face. A bludger gives him a blow in the face or the head. Bludger gives him a hard hit in the head, basically, right? Espero que le rompa la nariz. Era una broma profesora. Okay, so espero comes from the verb Esperar, to wait, right? Espérame, wait for me. I think I'm saying that right. Espero, I wait or I hope that the rompa la nariz. I think he's saying I hope it broke his nose, right? And era un broma. Broma means joke, right? Era means it was, right? There's lots of kind of conjugations we need to talk about with is, because it's used in almost every freaking sentence, in English too. So era means it was, una broma, a joke, profesora, right? And if I remember correctly, that's Professor McGonagall, over his shoulder trying to get him to do good, commentary that wasn't giving favoritism to Gryffindor. Espero que la rompa la nariz. Let's look up espero, que is that, le rompa, le is, we see once again, le da, to him it gives, right? Here, to him, I'm going to guess it broke, right? Because la nariz means a nose, right? Nariz. What's that? It's a English word that's like that. I can't think of it right away. All right, so le rompa. Let's look up rompa. I think romper means to break. Oh, there it is. Come on, focus. There it is. Break, smash, crack, shatter. Okay, when you're talking about somebody's nose, that's pretty brutal. Le rompa. Let's see how this changes as a phrase instead of a word, okay? So, le rompa, boom. Break or broken. Break doesn't really change it a lot, but broken. Le rompa, broke his. To him it broke. All right. Espero. Let's look up espero. Oops. I'm all over the place. Espero. I hope. Okay, there's wait. Yeah, wait. Espero. Waiting, expecting, hoping. So they're basically the same kind of thing here. You can hope for something or you can wait for something. There is kind of a gray area there. There's a lot of gray areas in Spanish that are clear in English, and there's a lot of gray areas in English that are clear in Spanish. So one word can mean exactly the same thing in English or have many different meanings in context with Spanish that has more to do with their culture than just straight up A to B, translation. This means this. Sometimes you got to take the context, context into context, or you got to take the culture into context. It doesn't mean always this exact same thing we think it does, right? So I hope, or I expect, or I wait. In this case, the context is I hope, right? Because we can see that Lee is making a little bit of a joke here, but not really so much of a joke. Espero, that O on the end is when you say I am doing something. Esperar is to hope or to wait, right? But espero means I hope, right? Espero, where is that thing? Espero que le rompa la nariz. I hope that, que is that, or it can mean what. Espero que le, to him, rompa, it broke, the nose, la nariz, right? I hope that it broke his nose. It was a joke, profesora, right? Profesora, the A on the end is the feminine. Profesor, in this case, would mean a male professor. Profesora is a female professor. So, instead of saying professor meaning either male or female, in this case, it's a lot clearer. Sometimes in Spanish, this is a pain in the butt. With the male-female thing, you got to memorize this word for female and this word. Put an A on the end for female, O on the end for male. But some words are different, and it's all over the place. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt. Sometimes it's really nice because you can say, for example, my friend, mi amigo, or my girlfriend, mi amiga. Unlike English, where you can actually say my girlfriend, and people go, oh, what do you mean? Are you like, you guys got something going on, or like she's your friend you grew up with, right? And you always have to disclaimer that. So no, she's my friend. My girlfriend, my girl who's a friend, right? Because in Spanish it's pretty convenient. Amiga means friend, whereas novia means girlfriend, right? There's two separate words for two separate concepts, and to me that's really clean, clean speaking, because you don't have to put all these disclaimers and no, she's my friend who's a girl, right? In English, we have to do that every freaking time, or one of our friends are going to go, oh, girlfriend, and leads to all kinds of goofy translations. But other times that in Spanish, that doesn't make it a perfect language, because other times Spanish is just freaking redundant as all get out, and has all these extra words, de la, instead of just saying, apostrophe s, right? So, there's give and take there. All right, so let's see here. Oops. All right, so it was. I need to figure out how to permanently focus this thing. Era una broma, profesora. It was a joke, professor. Right? So apparently, we're in a Quidditch game here. I don't know which one. We don't know how this one ends, but I think we'd have to probably go paragraphs in to figure out, is this the one where he swallows the what the heck is it called? I can't remember this. Snitch. The snitch. He swallows it. As if he swallows the snitch. We might skip forward and find out which one this is. So, as far as our general goals go, we've basically figured out what's going on here. But let's finish out the rest of this paragraph and see what's going on. All right. So, Slytherin, anota un tanto. Oh no. And that's universal. Oh no. Right? Slytherin, anota un tanto. Anota un tanto. Anota. That's a new one on me, actually. I've never seen that one. Anota. Noted, jot down, writes down. This might be one of those things where I have to put in several words to mean something before the individual words mean anything. Anota, or noted, to note something, to make a note of something. Anota, that makes sense. Anota, let's check out, let's do this just for fun. I'm going to go ahead and say tanto, not tanto as in Lone Ranger, but tanto. So much, all this, so many. Or sometimes I think it can mean that much or too much. There's that much. I think it means too much. Es tanto is too much. It's enough. Like if somebody's giving you food. You want more? Más? No, es tanto. So tanto, so much. These words individually don't make any sense in our context here unless I'm missing something, a forehead slapper. But let's look up anota. What's N? Un tanto. Un tanto. So I'm going to add this on the end. Sometimes these words only make sense when you put them in combination. They become a special phrase that means something on their own. Anota un tanto. Scores the goal. Okay, I never would have figured that out. Notes the as much, or yeah, I think tanto means something a little bit more than we were just reading. Scores the goal. Yeah, that's obviously, our context that we have here. Get home, sock one out of the park, anota un tanto. Yeah, I'd have to chase that one down to really figure out what tanto means in this context. Call a home run, anota un tanto, has scored on, right? So scores the goal, right? So that's our context. Let's look again at tanto and see what we're actually dealing with here, right? So much well alike, big deal. Big deal, right? You okay, girl? You doing all right? A big deal would be the closest I can think of to goal, right? Or an accomplishment. Let's do this. Let's really chase this down. English to Spanish. Let's go ahead and say goal. Boom. Okay, so I'm seeing objetivo, meta, a goal, propósito, finalidad means final or ending. You reach the goal. Puerta, logro. So, yeah, I'm not quite getting, I don't want Arabic. Not quite getting the context of tanto, but there are phrases in English that actually don't mean anything, in a certain context until you take them in a group of words in some kind of phrase. But if you pick some English phrases apart, you actually might think like, okay, I know what it means when I hear it, when I hear it in context, but if you actually take those words apart, some of them sound kind of stupid. It doesn't even make sense. I can't think of any, examples off the top of my head. Well, for example, let's say get right to it. In some of my contexts in my other videos, I said get right to it. So get means to have something. Right means, to the right, or the right to do something, or, right as in directly. To means toward, and of course it means it. So get right to it. It makes sense in context, but if you're not an English speaker, a native English speaker, you might take apart those words and go, get means okay to have something. Right means the right to do something. To means toward, or it can mean many other things. And if you put it word by word, it might just make a nonsense phrase, but get right to it is a phrase that means just, going right to the goal there. So in this, in a lot of cases, we're going to see some words that don't mean anything individually. They have their own individual meanings, but then when you clump them together into this, this group of words, suddenly it has a meaning as a phrase, not a word. Phrase meaning several words put together to mean something new, okay? So in this case, Slytherin, oh, for Pete's sake, come on. Focus. There. Anota un tanto, scored the goal, right? And of course he says, oh no, after that. Slytherin scores the goal. Oh no. Lee Jordan is really kind of a crappy commentator because, he was definitely had favoritism. All right, so let's review. Lee continued commentating the game. Slytherin in possession. Flint with the quaffle. He passes Spinnet, and Bell, or Abel, passes Spinnet, Bell. A bludger hits him in the side of the face. I hope that it broke his nose. So, una bludger to him gave with force in the face. It just, bludger gave him a whack in the face. Espero, I hope, that to him it gives. I hope that it breaks his nose. Rompa means to break. The the bludger breaks, rompa. It breaks. Le rompa. To him it breaks. I hope that it breaks his nose. It was a joke, professor. Era una broma, professora. Slytherin, anota un tanto. Oh no. Slytherin scores a goal. Oh no. Right? Okay, now just for fun, let's figure out which of these games. I forget how many actual Quidditch games are in this first book, if there's just one or several. But let's see what goes on here. I think this is going to be the one where he swallows the snitch. Okay, I'm gonna scan along here until I see. Get a little bit of light on this situation. See a reference to the snitch. And this gets pretty handy if you know just words here and there. You can kind of see what's going on. Tengo. Oops. Tengo la snitch. Right? I have. Tener is to have. Tengo. Remember that O on the end? Means I do something. Tengo la snitch. I have the snitch. Grito. Gritar means to yell or to scream. This word's used a lot in the Harry Potter books. Because like Hermione's screaming, or there's one of these pages here where I found who's Malfoy's friends, the big guys. He's screaming with pain when Ron's rat bites him in the fingers, los dedos, right? Tengo la snitch, grito. Grito means he screamed or he yelled, right? And it's taken in context. Girls scream, men yell. Depending on how surprising it is, sometimes guys can scream too if they're really. All right, so okay, tengo la snitch. Let's see here. Harry was all speed toward the ground when una mano a la boca, mouth. Right? So I'm thinking boca means mouth. So I think this might have something to do with the mouth. Algo dorado cayó en su mano, in his hand, mano. Right? He screamed. Sobre su cabeza. La boca llevaba una mano a la boca. Yeah, I'd really have to crack into this to find out, but I think this is the one where he gets the snitch in the mouth and spits it out. I might be wrong, but at the very least, we have achieved the basic goal of our exercise here. Learn Spanish with me. On Harry Potter y la Piedra Filosofal. Until I find another book series to do it with. I'd like to actually branch out, but the requirement is it has to be a book I have read, or at least have heard an audiobook on, so I'm familiar with it, because as I've said before, it's about that moment of recognition. You can't just read a book in Spanish that you've never read before, because you want that moment of recognition, realizing, oh, this is the part where this is happening, I remember that. And suddenly those neurons connect that are already there with the memories of the book, then it connects with the new knowledge that you're learning, instead of just some random, kind of phrase you learn that you don't have any personal, right-brained, artistic kind of meaning to connect it with. Because we're talking about the child, the inner child part of our brain learning here. As you've probably learned as an adult learner, the left side of our brain learns well, but it doesn't retain well. It's almost as if our inner child, and this is my own personal philosophy, it's almost like our inner child has to have a reason to learn it. like any kid's like, why am I learning this? And most kids know they're learning algebra. They're like, when am I going to use this? And us adults say like, oh, this is, this will build character and it's good stuff. But then you learn as an adult, it's a huge lie. Yeah, you never use algebra, unless you're actually involved with math or something as your job, right? So you got to give that right brain something, it's almost like you got to speak to your inner child and convince it that, yes, this knowledge is not just something I'm force feeding to you, even though you want to learn it, your inner child's got to be convinced, right? So our inner child, when you read something like Harry Potter or some book you love, that's all inner child. You're reading from a right brain perspective, even if it's a logical book, but if it's a page turner and you're enjoying it, your inner child's just eating it up, right? So you got to take that inner child and then take the left side of the brain and say, hey, look, there's something new here, right? And when that inner child is accepting of the information, it just freaking opens up like a funnel and you can just pour information in. That's why this has done so much more for me in the couple, like maybe months I've figured this out, the book thing. Way more than looking through like years of freaking Duolingo or Rosetta Stone, all that kind of stuff. It's just random information bouncing off your skull. But if your inner child is like, ooh, I like this, then it just sucks the information in and it sticks. I'm learning so many freaking words. I'm actually getting to the point where I'm reading paragraphs before I got to grab my reverso contacts and go, what is that word again? So yeah, things are starting to happen, and I hope this also happens for you. I hope it works for you. This is why I'm doing this. Like I said, this is for selfish reasons, but I'm wanting to share my my little trick here and see if it helps you. That's why I call it Learn Spanish with me. I'm learning Spanish. Every now and then I'll do a video, and I hope you can join in with me. So thanks for joining in once again. This is Learn Spanish with Me 3. Like I said, sometimes it'll go long. Other times I'll just go boop, boop, boop through a paragraph or a sentence, and we'll say, okay, we're done here, right? So got into a lot today. Hope you join me next time. I'm going to be putting these out sporadically. I can't make you any promises. Once I get to, I don't know, maybe a couple hundred, fans or subscribers, get some more comments, I might actually get more onto this. But right now, I'm just doing it whenever I can grab some free time. As you see, I'm in my freaking pajamas, just having a nightcap, and just thought I'd turn the record button on. So, thanks again for joining me, and we will see you next time on Learn Spanish with Me.